Okay, welcome back to Fast Ship Performance there. My name is Tim Davies, and as you can see, we are back in the attack shack, dropping truth bombs on your personal battlefield, helping you to win the wars you are fighting. And a brother from another mother is currently fighting one of these battles right now. He's a pilot flying over Badlands, and he's got a drink problem. If you don't have any interest in alcohol, controlling, or the cessation of, this might not be the video for you. And it's certainly if you're not interested in aviation, guys, there's other videos you can watch. Just get straight to the email, and the comment section is a really great place where you can help out people like this with your own wisdom and guidance. And that's exactly where I direct people when they write to me. I'm like, hey, hit the comment section and read what these people who follow this channel write, because there's a wealth of information. I only know so much, okay? But you guys out there, you know an absolute truck of stuff. Also, guys, if you do have someone you know that is maybe struggling with drinking, you know my background on it, all right? I'll talk about that in a second. Then maybe forward this video to them. That's all I'm asking, all right? And at the end of this video, I'll link into another video that will give you some more idea of what I went through maybe in my own alcohol journey. Hi, Tim. I've been following your channel for quite some time, and I've always found your advice and motivation helpful. I'm just going to change a few details. I don't want to highlight my brother here with some difficulty, you know, where he is. My situation at the moment is that I'm currently a 44-year-old Canadian pilot flying the King Air, which is a twin engine, like it's just a kind of like a business jet type thing, about 8 seats down the back end. The Royal Air Force flies them still, I think, or used to fly them, doesn't fly them anymore. Operating in a humanitarian role in Iraq after everyone has been and gone. All right. It's going to sound a bit shit, but my wife has left me and I've developed a drinking problem over the last few months. I'm battling to find a way forward, and my aviation career has moved in a backwards direction. I don't have a military background like you, but I've seen and been exposed to a few things. I just wanted to share and reach out. I feel like a failure and I don't know what to do. All right. I get quite a few of these emails every week. I'm going to keep this to 10 minutes. Let's hit them with some home truths, all right? This is only going to go one way, all right? I was there myself. You know me, guys. I don't use the term alcoholic. I use the term alcohol dependency. And if you drink enough alcohol for a long period of time, strange enough, you become dependent on it. Of course you do. It's a drug. All right. If we take enough of it in, then we do get dependent on it. And guys like me, for some reason, used to process alcohol really quickly, which means I used to drink more of it in comparison to, say, other guys on the squadrons. And therefore, I was getting not more drunk, because I didn't tend to get like drunk, but my body got more tolerant of it, and I drank more and more and more. And then before you know it, you are suffering from a dependency on alcohol. And that's what I had when I flew back in the Air Force. So this guy's obviously sounding like the same thing. Everything's against him, right? He's operating over Badlands. He probably hasn't got his boys around. Looks like he's a contract pilot from what I'm reading here. And there isn't really any support there. Everyone's been and gone. So it's obviously, you know, something that we used to do in the past. There'd be a lot of military there and something, you know, he could have lent on maybe for some support. They're not there anymore. So he seems pretty isolated. So he's isolated. His wife just left him. And yeah, of course, you know, his aviation career is going backwards. Where does it go when you're in your mid-40s? So everything is against him. Of course, what do? We hit the bottle. And why not? Because it just numbs that pain in the dark hours. Normally, it's the evenings. This is when I stopped drinking 18 months ago, guys. I remember the evenings were the really bad time. They're going to be. So the way I do it, I go to bed early and I get up early, all right? Because those evenings, you suffer through. The evenings are what's going to kill you. I guarantee it. The things you do in the evenings, when the daytime stops, you're back in your house from, say, 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening, that is what's going to kill you. All right, those boredom hours are what's going to kill you. So flying attracts alcohol as well. And I think it's because the job is pretty intense. So when we're not doing the job, we switch off. We use something, don't we? Now, my father, when he came back, who's a police officer, came back into the house after his day at work, working shifts or whatever. He'd hit the whiskey, hit the beers. I was growing up. I saw that. To me, it was a coping mechanism. And I copied that. All right. That's what I did. And then throughout the military, of course, there's massive drinking culture. I was really into it. And I flew jets and I was drinking in the evenings the whole time, which was kind of encouraged as well, to be fair, kind of encouraged because everyone was doing it. There were bars on the squadron. I'm not justifying it. And also, here's the thing as well. There's no victimhood here. Even when this guy does what he needs to do, there's no victim. He's not looking at himself as a victim. But there's a difference between being a victim and actually being someone that you need to look after. And as we mature in life, we need to look after ourselves, because there might be other people that depend on us. Now, this man here is saying that his wife's left him. It tends to happen if you go and work overseas quite a lot. What you're saying to family is, hey, I prioritize my life overseas over you. I know it's contentious. It's saying, look, I'm going to get us money. I'm going to go, but you're out there. So you kind of, is an abandonment theory as it was, you're abandoning the family. I know you're not. But a lot of people feel that that's happening. And in our own minds as well, when we're working away, we can also feel that, like, I'm abandoning my family. If I really cared about my family, I'd take a job in Tesco's pushing trolleys or whatever, and I'd still be there for them. Now, it's complex. He's probably trying to do the right thing, going overseas, get some money, but there's many things in here which is difficult. But either way, the man is developing a drinking problem. Or he's actually got one. There's only one way out of this, mate. I'll be fair with you. Change of scenery is a massive thing. A change of environment is huge when you stop drinking. I didn't have that, but I know how big it is if you can change environment. I know how important it is, because when I went to Afghanistan back in 2011, I know it's about this guy, not me, by the way, I'm just saying, I had a huge drinking problem. And when I went out there in 2011, I remember thinking, how are you going to carry on drinking? How are you going to carry on drinking? And I went out there, didn't think about it for 6 months. It just went away because people were trying to fucking kill you and stuff, you know what I mean? And that's more important than trying to find alcohol. I just switched off from alcohol, like bang, straight away. It's the most surreal thing. People wouldn't believe me, all right? I developed a sugar addiction, M&Ms, chocolate, all that kind of stuff, but because you had that dopamine, and that's quite common, people go for that. But I didn't think about alcohol in Afghanistan. When I came back, straight back on it, of course. So here he is. I'm battling to find a way forward. Aviation career is moving in a backwards direction. And yeah, leaning on the bottle. So what can he do about it? Well, hey, this is the thing, right? Everyone's different. And that's what I say a lot of the time as well. Everyone's different. I built a gym in my garage. I was out there this morning. I hate it. Well, I don't hate it. I was on the ski erg this morning, doing 30 minutes on that, up in that zone 4 training, trying to increase my fitness because I'm in a rowing boat with some dudes. I hate it. I know I've got to do it. And I know I feel better when I do it because I move the body around a lot. So a lot of people do move that alcohol addiction area into some sort of fitness thing. And that's why they do it, because it's almost like we need to suffer. Some people need to suffer. All right. Hit the comments if you kind of one of these people, you understand this maybe. We need to make life harder for ourselves. And I don't know why. I'm not an expert on this. So if you are, whack it in the comments. I think I never felt good enough myself. A lot of pilots don't feel good enough, and that's why we go into flying. And also, by the way, the training you do in flying never ever tells you once that you're good enough. My wife says this the whole time. She says, you don't do well to someone telling that you're doing well, that you're doing good. You don't respond to it at all. That affection, no, you don't respond to it. You only respond to criticism. That's what my wife tells me. You only use, because that's whole flying training. 7 years of flying training, or three and a half, 4 for me, was about criticism, structured criticism, of course, but it was still criticism. We say, what can we do better? We never say what we did well. So this guy's living in that environment where he's self-assessing his own performance. He's saying, what am I doing badly? How can I be better? And pilots do that. I spoke to a guy flying with BA recently, and he's a good guy. And he was telling me how when he goes down route and they stay in hotels on layovers for 4 days, they all go to the bar, of course. And he stopped drinking a few years ago. He's in his 50s now. And he said, he's kind of embarrassed to be at the bar with these people he doesn't know. There's about 4,000 pilots and cabin crew and stuff in BA, apparently. So you never know who you're going down route with. So he's in a hotel, doesn't know these people. They all go and meet at the bar in the evening, and they can have a few beers because they've got a layover. But he doesn't want to say he's not drinking. This is a mid-50s, guy's in mid-50s, doesn't want to say he doesn't drink. So he goes and gets himself like a tonic water. And then when they come, he's like, oh, beer, wine. So he buys them all drinks because he's embarrassed about not drinking. I don't do that. I fucking own it like a boss because I did the crime, all right? I drank for a very long period of time. I'm 50 this year. So when I go down there, I'm not hating on anyone that wants to go drinking. More power to you, that's what I say. But I'm ordering a cup of tea. I'm ordering, whatever I want to be drinking, sparkling water with a slice of lime or some shit like that. Man, I did that fucking crime. I did it. I drank heavily for about 30 years. I'm not going to go there and pretend that I'm still drinking. I'm not doing that. I'll have a non-alcoholic lager. Absolutely. I'll tell people it's non-alcoholic. I'm not hiding behind anything. All right. So when you come down to the fact that you can continue drinking if you want to, but it's actually all right not to, the harder thing here, like for this man here, is to embrace this and say, you know what, I'm going to give myself a break, maybe 6 months, whatever. And I might hit the gym. I might try and eat healthily. It's difficult when you're down route and everyone else is doing it. I understand that. It's difficult when you're away from your family. He's got a break up at home. One of the problems I have with men that I speak to quite often, guys, and if you've got any advice, please hit the comments and I'll wrap this up in about 2 minutes now. One of the things I I speak to men about. The men that fall and they live in that kind of bottom tier, they haven't hit rock bottom yet. So when you hit rock bottom, there's one of two things you can do. First thing, and I'm very familiar with this, guys, because you know I've talked about it before, you can kill yourself. That's one thing you can do. And a lot of guys do that. And I've had friends that have done that as well. We've had pilots in the Air Force who have killed themselves, all right? That's one of the things we know about it. Some of the guys, especially doing this, get suicidal ideation, all that stuff. We understand it, okay? We understand it happens. It's awful. It happens. You hit rock bottom, bang, kill yourself. That's one option. The second thing you can do is the Rocky Balboa is just, right, you know, I've got nowhere else to go. Nowhere else to go. There's nowhere else to go. I can only go up. And that's really empowering, especially for men. For some reason, men really embrace this. I can't really speak for women. When you go, okay, who am I? Like, who is Tim Davies? That's me, but that's my name. Who is Tim Davies? Is he that guy that looks at those beams in his garage and that's his legacy? And that was almost my legacy. And I've spoken about it before when I came out of the military and I was still drinking. That was what I was looking at, beams in my garage. Or is Tim Davies someone else? Yeah, I'm probably oversharing. I do a lot of oversharing, guys, because I want men to understand it's all right for us to talk about these things. Is this me? Am I the guy, the legacy being, I knew Tim Davies when he flew in the Air Force. Yeah, he killed himself. Is that me? Because it was, almost, it really was. It really, really was. Or is the Tim Davies, no, he did something about it. He built a small company. You know, he stayed in a marriage that was very fragile and breaking apart. And this is him now making YouTube videos, all right? I know you guys in the comments that offer such immense advice on this. Anything you can add is really appreciated. So what I'll say to this man is he's in that middle ground. Hasn't hit rock bottom yet. He's still got a job. You know, okay, so the wife's left him. He's developing alcoholism. He's in that middle ground. It's a little bit dangerous because, as I said, you haven't hit rock bottom, but it does mean that you have the opportunity not to hit rock bottom. And so we just got to, as I said at the beginning, we're not playing victim here, but we can do something worthwhile with ourselves. We can treat ourselves as if there's someone there to be taken care of. We can do that. It's hard sometimes because, as I said before, especially as pilots, we're not very fond of ourselves very often. That's why we go into things like piloting or become surgeons or lawyers, and we keep thrusting like this. You know, we keep thrusting up. So all I'm saying there is it's worth having a think about. Maybe getting into phys. Maybe just thinking of taking a 6-month break, evaluation, maybe looking at a bit of a career change. This is what you want to do. You're saying your aviation career is going backwards. Maybe that's because you're in your mid-40s. Maybe there's another career you can lean into. Maybe you can look into the management side of flying with the experience that you built up in the flying side. Maybe you can now look at the, you know, running the contractors as opposed to being the contractor. You could lean into that kind of agency work yourself. Maybe employ other pilots to do the work that you were doing. You know, no one else is going to do it for you. And when I leave this man with a phrase, and I'll finish now, 13 minutes. No one's watching this video, are they? Not 13 minutes. When I leave you with a phrase that no one's coming to save you, there's a bit on that people don't really mention very often. So we always say that phrase is on posters. No one's coming to save you, mate. Well, there's a little bit we kind of have to add on. And what that little bit is no one's coming to save you from yourself. That's the bit. That's the bit people don't realize. No one's coming to save you from yourself. People can come and save you. Have some money, mate, do that. If you've got negative tendencies like this man has here for alcohol and alcohol dependency developing, no one can do that but himself. So really, what kind of man is this? What kind of man do you want to be known as? What kind of man do you want to be? To me, it's important that I do the hard things so I value myself. And a lot of times I don't value myself. I know it's hard for people to hear that, and I'm sure people feel the same way. Fuck it, guys. What is it? 14 minutes, I'm a dick. Fucking supposed to be 10. Guys, comments, appreciate it. Share if you think it's got some value here for someone that you might know. I don't know whether it has. And I wish this man all the best. I'll send this tape to him now. Obviously, you know, we haven't mentioned who he is or anything like that. If you do write to me, guys, I'm not going to talk about your names or your locations, so don't worry about it. I get quite a lot of emails. One thing about that BA captain in the bar I was highlighting is he has an opportunity to really own that situation, especially with young people around. He doesn't have to hide the fact he doesn't drink. He can actually say, hey, there's another life out there. You don't have to drink. If you don't want to, it's fine. And you probably find a lot of young people today will be like, thanks, Cap. You know, that's great. Brilliant. Thank you. I appreciate that. Guys, I'll leave it there anyway. Really appreciate it, guys. Have a great time. Have a great weekend. Tim Davies, Fast Jet Performance.